Hello everyone, and welcome to another J. Robinson Art Peiloff painting project. Today we're going to be doing a very nice wildflower painting. They're like a form of daisies. They're in a variety of different colors. But the key about this painting today is not just the painting itself. We're going to be exploring quite a few little color mixtures in order to understand how to take a limited palette and create a bunch of different colors and make this painting very exciting, very fun, and very easy. Please don't be intimidated by the color mixtures. It's all part of the painting process. If you want to consider this painting a slightly advanced painting, feel free to go with that, but it's not. It's really simple. It's really easy. It's not that hard at all. Before we get started, let's just go over the equipment that we have and what I'll be using today. Off to the side, I have my cup of water. We provide you with two very nice brushes. We also give you a paper towel, a spatula to peel off the peels that are attached to the canvas. We give you a plastic apron, and we give you a half palette sheet to put your colors on, and these are the colors for today. We're going to be using yellow, white, black, blue, and red. Now, as I stated, from these colors, we're going to be using red and blue to make a purple. We're going to be using yellow and blue to make a green. And we're going to be using white to lighten up some of the colors in order to make them a little bit more exciting for us. All right, without further ado, let's just get started. Let's take a look at this very simple, very easy painting. Wildflowers. As I said, they're actually a form of daisies. They just come in a variety of different colors. The background is very random, so I'm going to be doing it not quickly, but I'm not going to be doing it with any intent that you have to duplicate exactly what I'm making. But I just want to give you an idea of how to make it. Then I'm going to show you how to pull some stems. Then we're going to decorate the flowers. Here we have our 8x10 canvas with our peels attached. And the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to introduce you to my little collection of brushes that I like to use that make me feel comfortable. And if you have your own, please feel free to use those. And I'm going to be grabbing a flat brush. And the first color I'm going to mix is some yellow and white to start my background. So I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm just going to splash some white along the background of the canvas. Now I'm being very random here because I want the colors to be a little streaky. And again, this is just me laying in a background. Okay, see how I left this part because we'll be adding a different color down in that area. Take a little bit of yellow, mix that with a little bit of white. Then I'm just going to start streaking some of that in. See, just going to add some yellow, white, put some of that in here. Okay, I'm going to take some straight yellow and just kind of indicate some of that in here. Again, I just want my background to be a little streaky. Now watch this. I'm going to take a touch of red and a touch of yellow. And that's going to create an orange. I take some white to lighten that up. And let's just streak a little bit of that along the edges. Maybe some down in here. Just to give my background some other variations of color. Okay. See? Wipe it off. Take a little bit of white just to soften it up a little bit. This is my background. I don't want it to be too strong. Come down here with a little yellow and white. I know it seems like I'm going fast, but I'm not. I just don't want you to be focused in too much on the specifics. I just want you to have like a general idea. Let's clean off the brush. Now we're going to do a little bit of a background. Watch this. See, I wipe my brush off. I take a touch of yellow and a little touch of blue, and I make a green. And because of the yellow being the dominant, it makes a very light green. Now I'm going to streak some of that back here towards the bottom. Just going to run some of that across. Okay. Now we're going to take a touch of blue again and a little bit of white. And you see we get this very nice kind of a greenish blue color. And we're just going to add some of that down here towards the bottom. Just streaking the brush. Call it grass, call it whatever you like, but really it's just a coloration. Take a little bit more blue, a little bit more white, and then just mix some of that up in here too. See? These colors, I like to work with colors that are harmonious to one another. Take a little bit of white, a little bit more blue, there. And these harmonious colors, then when they blend together, they kind of create like a harmony, because the colors are really intermingled within themselves. You have your primary, and then you have your secondaries, and these are what these are. And this is fine. That's going to be my background. That's good enough for me, because I want to spend a lot more time on the flowers. So just as fast as I went through it is about as fast as you need to do it. Now we're going to take this flat brush and we're going to look at our peels. Each one of these peels is a flower, but they need their own stem. So I'm going to take some blue, take some yellow, and we're going to mix up a green. Now, depending on the value of green, yellow is how dark or light your colors are going to be. And you could always add white to lighten it up even further. So this right here, let's just create what we're going to call a bud. So you see right here, there's a flower, but it has a lot of little dimples in it. I've already made that for you. So all you have to do is kind of create a little bit of a half rounded shape like that. Color it in. Don't worry about the peel. This is going to act as the bud to this flower. Okay. Then we're going to take some green here. And even though you don't see any ripple colors, we're going to create a little bit of a half circle like this. And just paint that in. You see how I'm painting right to the edge of this flower. And this is going to be the bud for this stem. Okay. And maybe right here, we just do a little bit of a light one, a little small one that's right here. You see how that value bumped up against the green itself? Now we're going to take, maybe put a little white to this, a little yellow to this, a little blue to this. Okay, that's good. Now we add a little bit more yellow. Just looking for a green color, that's all. Now we're going to pull down our stems. So let's go with this one that has no bud on it. But you know that there's a stem. So let's just pretend we're right there in the center. And just pull straight down and say this stem is holding up this flower. There. That's a nice stem. That's good. Now we're just going to add a little bit more color to this. And let's come over here where we did this little bud. And let's just make a stem that sticks from it right there. There. Now we're going to go back here. Just add a little yellow. Now we're just going to pull straight through the peel right here. See this? Is the stem. So we're just going to come straight through the peel. Not going to worry about it. And that gives us the stem to that wildflower. And of course, last but not least, let's go over here. Let's make a nice fat one that's holding up this flower. Come right through everything. Come right down. There. And the reason we're pulling through the peels is it's going to make it look like these are behind once we start peeling them off. I just want to make sure that they're nice and dark. Now you could always take a little dark black, mix it in with the green, give a little shadow color to some of the stems if you want. You know, you could do that just for effect. Just to add that, you could put a little bit towards the top next or behind the flowers to help give a little variation. You know, you could even take, let me clean off the brush before we move on. You could take a little yellow and just go right into the flower itself, just to add a little highlight here or there. You could do the same with the stem. Come down and add a little green, a little yellow into the green. To give a little variation. Come here a little bit, maybe do like that. If you want, just to give some highlight to your painting. You don't see it that much, but it's there. All right, now we're done with our background. We made our stems. Now let's move on to our flowers. Now you could do the individual flowers, peel it one at a time, but I'm going to peel them all off because I want you to see them so we can work them nice and easily. So now the secret to using the spatula is you want to grab it around the neck, like up in here, like you got this whole thing. And you just want to use any of those edges just to get under and start movement. So let's just go in here, start to rip up, see, push up. Anything that comes up, that could be your start. If it starts to break, no problem. You could always go back and pick it all off. But the key is just to get it started so you can remove it. That's one. See, once you get a little bit, all you got to do is grab the crinkle, I call it. It's not that difficult. Just peel away. Again, if it breaks, you just go back in and take it all off. You can go anywhere that you think you could get it to get started, because that's really all you want. You just want to get it started. See, once you get it started, you can pull it away. Here, I'm gonna let this one rip purposely so you can see. See how it ripped? But that's fine, because that even helps me more, because now I got all that easily to just peel right off. And now let's go for this last one. Again, you could do this anywhere. I'm just choosing random spots. You can go anywhere that you can get it started. They're adhered to help you block out the area so that no paint gets underneath. They're not hard to get off at all. I'm just trying to see how this is still here. So you just go in, use your fingers, whatever. The key is just to take your time. Bam. So there's our 4 flowers. Let me clean up this brush. Now 2 of these flowers have yellow centers. So I'm going to put those in right now so we can mark off a kind of an area. So let's pretend that right in here is a circle. So let's take some yellow and let's just put some yellow right up in here. Just make a little dot shape. Not going to worry about that little green spot. I did that with my finger when I did the peel. That's okay. So that's going to be the center to this flower. So now the center to this flower, let's just say that it's right here. Now you can look at it and decide maybe it should be a little bit bigger. So make it bigger. It's your flower. There. There's my center. So now we got the center part for these 2 flowers. These 2 don't have centers that are that visual, so we're not going to worry about them. The first flower we're going to paint is this one here at the top. You can choose any of these. I'm just choosing this one because this is the only one that I'm going to make a kind of a light blue, dark blue variation. So here's how I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a little white, take a little blue, mix me up some color. Now I'm going to take a lot more white and make this really, really light. There. Now I got a nice little amount. I got a nice little coloration here. So now I'm just going to start pulling flowers. So I can look at the shape and I can say there's a petal that's right here. See, there's a petal that's right here. So I'm just going to pull color. I'm going to work around the green bulby part. And I'm just going to pull color. See, I'm just basically coloring in, but I'm pulling it because I don't want it to lose the shape that's going to end up being the flowers. So I'm going to make sure that I look at the design, see where it is, and just try to maintain that shape. Pulling it right back down to here. That's fine. This is phase 1 of this. We're going to come back and darken this area, some of these areas up. But you see how I'm purposely trying to keep that kind of a petal shape, if you will. There you go. I'm just going to come Dance it around the green. Try to use up some of this color here. And I'm just gonna pull some petals down. See how I'm leaving those shapes? They're gonna pay dividends later on. Gonna come here, pull this one around. Wildflowers. See, maintaining those little edges are really, really key for me. They're gonna help make the difference in this painting as far as where those petals are. See that? Look at that. There. Okay. Now this one's kind of done. But what you could do before you move on to some of the other ones is you could take some of this darker blue, mix it in with this color, and then try to add some variations. So let's say that this one is a front petal. This one's a back petal. See? Then let's go over here and say maybe there's some that comes down in here like this. You see how I'm staggering the colors a little bit to make it a little darker? Come here and say maybe there's a darker one that's valued maybe right in here. And maybe it shoots off a little bit that way. So I'm just trying to add a little dimension now. Maybe this one is dark and this one's light. Maybe there's a darker value right here. Kind of goes around this one. I'm just faking this out. I'm just making it appear that there's some stuff going on that's really not. I'm just adding variations of colors, variations of values. Maybe there's a dark value back in here. Now watch him create a shape like that. And then maybe this next one is dark too. See, like that, and maybe it just comes down here. So it just kind of makes it look like it's pushing flower petals back. Maybe there's another one. Maybe we just create one that comes right here. And then maybe there's a line that comes here. Maybe comes off over here. That's good enough for me. This gives me the look of a flower. We could come back and play with this all day. Maybe we will come back, but for all intent and purpose, we're going to keep moving on. These two flowers are very similar in tone value. They're kind of in the purplish family. So to make a purple, you would take a little blue, a little red, you mix it together, and to test it, you touch a little white. See that? See how that white shows you the purple? Now, just like the one up top, we're going to first start with a very, very light purple. So let's mix up a nice little batch. Let's go to this one right here, and you can see all of the little petals. So why don't we start with the ones in the back? Let's make this a little bit lighter. I want this to be a little bit lighter. So let's grab some more white. There. And now let's go back. There you go. Put that. Pull it down. Maybe make a dimple. Dimple. When I say dimple, it's just making the little shapes that look like petals. Because remember, this is a painting, so we're not taking a photograph. We're being creative. We could be as creative as we want to be. So I'm just turning my brush around to create those little shapes. You see how I'm working towards the back first. Just adding some of these shapes that's going to act as petals for me. See that? Look. Then I'm going to go off to the side. And maybe we'll continue on this side. Bring a little bit closer. And we're going to say, that's good. Now we're going to go for a slightly darker value. Let's go to slightly darker value. Start right here. Like that. See the color variation? You can even go in here and add some of those colors. See? See how it starts to chop it up? Now let's add a little darker value. And let's just go right up in the front here and start pulling some of these that are closer. Like this. And again, we're just creating the shape. See, we're just creating the shape of a flower. We're faking this out. We're not making anything real. We're just having some fun, pushing around a few colors, and we're just being creative. You can go back in and start alternating in the front between the lights and the darks. See how it gives a whole cluster look right there? Yeah, that's all we're after. Take a little bit more of this darker value. Start pulling some of this way. Just creating that shape again. Creating the shape again. And maybe we'll come in with a little light value to just make this one right here. Look at that. So you've got this kind of a look of a flower, petals falling all over this bulb. Now we're going to work on this one. Just going to clean my brush off because I want to start with another value of color. Now, since this one has this little center part, why don't we start making the edge? So let's go back and take some yellow, a little bit of red, and make an orange. Yeah, there you go. That's a nice looking orange. Let's take this orange and let's just dance this around. Just tap. Dance this around the yellow. There you go. Let's just dance. Just tap this around. There you go. Now, that's good enough. So now at least we have our center. We have this part over here. We're going to come back later with some dark black. But now we're going to clean off our brush and do the same thing we did over here. We're going to grab a little bit of blue and a little bit of red. Mix those up. Get us a purple. And how do we test that? We test that purple with a little bit of white. Oh, yeah. That's nice. So let me clean this off. Go back in and grab some white. Make a really, really light purple. Good enough. And then let's just start pulling. Now, this one is a little bit different because this one is more like you're looking at it from a top view. So when you pull, leave a little space in between each one. Even if it makes it white, so what? It's okay. The idea is to not make it so that it's one solid. Make it so that you can see different petals. You know, and then you could change the values as you go along, making it darker and lighter. But the key here is to just create a bunch of little petal shapes. See how those petal shapes are starting to... Now, when you get to the edge over here, since this is off camera, you could just pull those in because it doesn't really matter. Because this is actually off camera, so it doesn't really make a difference. Now you're coming back on, so what we're going to do, let's make it a little bit darker, and let's just pull some values that are going to go back here. And once you start pulling in the dark, take some of that dark and separate just a couple. Even in the off camera, you start your process of giving that look, you know, by pulling in some darker values over the lighter values. Come over here. Let's just add some more. Show you a trick in a second. Put a little white here. Just try to vary it up a little bit. Because again, everything doesn't have to be super dark, but you don't want them to all be the same. So just whip this around, pull it back. This one we're going to touch to the orange because we're going to come back and add some dark color. But you see what I mean about the variation? You know, the value variation. See, you take a little dark, you throw a little line or two into some of that lighter value, and you start seeing like this whole play of petals that doesn't even exist, but it kind of starts to look like that, and that's really all we're after. Put some white on the brush. It's going right back into this mixture. I don't need to make a whole sloppy thing. And then just come in and start pulling petals that are here. Going here. Take some more white. Because as light against dark, dark against light, that's actually a theory in art. That's how you make the illusion of things. You know, when you add different values and definitely shapes. See how the shapes are starting to come out? This painting is almost finished, believe it or not. I'm just talking you through the process because I don't want you to feel intimidated or that it has to be a certain way, because it really doesn't. Your petals are going to come out great if you just follow the basics of what I'm saying. You keep your eye on those shapes, those tips, those shapes, the values. That's going to make it look like a flower. You can't lose with the stuff we use. See? And I'm not worried right now about the darker ones. I'm just coming in with these lighter colors. And I'll show you how you can add both light and dark again. Just creating a shape. Staying within the shapes. Staying within the shapes. See? Now you could come back and add blue, red to make a purple. Another value of purple. See? It's a darker one. Come in and you add a few little lines here and there just to give off that whole flower thing. You could even create like this whole look. Look at that. Take a dark one and just put it right there. Take another dark one. Put it right there. Take another dark one. Put it right there. Just like that. And just like that. Just that fast. You've created the illusion, which is what you want, that there's a lot going on here. And if you find that to be too dark for you, then just take some white and go back and add some of that. That's fine too. You could lighten up colors, because all you want the look to have is as though there's a lot going on. Now we're going to work on this one right here. For this one right here, we're going to leave the yellow because this one is going to be mostly orange, reddish orange. So we're going to take some yellow. Okay, take some yellow, take some red. Churn and burn till we get a nice orange. Ooh, that's nice. But you know what we want, right? We want it to be lighter. So let's go here. There. Now, that's a nice orange. So from here, you're looking at the same thing. We've already made all of the basic shapes. So you got to do, starting to the back, is just pull them in. Pull them in towards the center. See? And by just leaving the staggered edges, you get the automatic look that there's a lot of petals going on here. Go to a little darker value. Pull it right towards the center. I like working the back to front. It's just a habit. You can work it any way you want. This is just how I like to do it. But you see how that quickly we've gotten all of those back petals in. It's touching right close. So why don't we go with some darker value now? Since we're coming around towards the front. Let's just pull some of this in. Staying with the shape. You know the trick. Since we got the dark, add a few lines in there. Start breaking things up. Oh, we're going to go even darker than this. But I'm just trying to work it nice and slow for you. So you can see the idea, then we'll build it up together. Just pulling it in. See how I'm just working really quickly, going right into the shapes. See, because we've already made the little shapes for you with the peel, so all we're doing is filling it in with color. Oh, these are nice. Painting's almost finished. We're almost done. We're very close to being done. I know it seemed like a lot, but you see how that light color and that dark color work there? So why don't we try this? Let's take some red. Ooh, that's going to be really hot. Take a little touch of yellow. It's really dark. So now let's just go back and do it again. This time we're going to pull and leave some of the orange as if it's underneath. See? You see how we went right over some of this, leaving some of that orange? Now we got all of these colors working for us. A little bit of yellow. Just by riching it up, adding some values to it. We're not taking anything out. We're just creating some lines right on top of the the light colors that we made, just to give us the variation. And I'm just going to try to cover up some of this white for this particular flower. Oh, that looks great. That looks good. So, look at what we got here. Show you something else you could do. Clean off the brush. I'm going to grab a little straight blue. I'm going to go right into this flower, and I'm just going to add some colors inside of it. Just like that. And I'm going to leave that just like that. You can come back here if you want and add some of these darker values into this one. Because remember, this is our blue flower. See that? You take some white if you want, and you can just pull in some white color, like just maybe towards this area. Spark that up a little bit. Remember I told you about the black, right? So here's, take a little bit of black. We're going to be tapping this, and I'm just going to tap a little bit. I'm just going to tap a little bit of black, just almost halfway around this flower's inside. Maybe I'll take some of that same color and I'll tap this one all the way around, just to help redefine that centerpiece. Our wildflowers are done. See how quick and easy that was? We splashed in some color for the background. We put in some color for our stems. We just purposely put some light color, then added a different value in it. We did the purple light color, and then we added some value to it after we danced some orange around our centerpiece. For this one, we just went with that reddish orange color, and now we have that. And look at our flowers. Well, I hope you had fun. I know I did. Video might have ran a slight bit longer than we normally like. We like to keep it within a half an hour. This one was actually 32 minutes and 24 seconds. But to me, it was well worth it. Because what we have is a beautiful set of wildflowers that was made from you with love. So easy, so much fun. I look forward to paint with you again. Until next time, take care.